have Hiren Ved as well joining us now, the Director, CEO and CIO of Alchemy Capital Management. Hiren, good afternoon. The market's verdict is very clear. It wants to go all out. By the way, of course, today the global cues have also helped, which was not the case up until Friday. Things have turned all of a sudden globally as well. There's a once again big risk on which is on in global equities. Emerging markets are doing well. So that's another factor. But Hiren, the question I was asking you, if you see the top gainers right now, it's all economy, domestic economy, IndusInd Bank, Cholamandalam, ICICI Bank, Bajaj Finserv, SBI, Ashok Leyland. Do you think that's the way forward, Larsen and Toubro? That's the way forward for the market now?
Yeah, I think very clearly, since this is an absolutely a pro-growth budget and with a great emphasis on investing in capital expenditure, on infrastructure, I think that the domestic-oriented sectors are definitely likely to do well, whether it is financials or consumer discretionary, whether it is metals or private banks and NBFCs. I think the domestic economy is likely to do very well, and it looks like, and as I've said before, that everything that is cyclical and digital is likely to do well.
Okay, everything that is cyclical and digital is likely to do well. Cyclical is doing well for sure right now. Nilesh Shah from Kotak Mutual Fund, what would be your portfolio approach from here on now? I know you won't change it just on the basis of the budget, but the market's message is loud and clear in terms of, investment-focused stocks, infrastructure, all these kind of stocks doing well right now.
So, Anuj, just to take a slightly different view, a lot will have to be focused now on the quarterly results which are coming out. By and large, almost all quarterly results are coming way above expectation. So about 102 odd companies which have come out with results, against street estimate of 14% PAT growth, the actual numbers have come almost 100% higher at 32%. Now, clearly, this budget is pro-growth. It's supporting financials, it's supporting infrastructure, it's supporting healthcare. But you'll have to now do bottom-up construction of stocks whose results have been good, whose commentary about future is positive, and who will benefit from this budget. So you really have to combine bottom-up analysis looking on one side at the growth and valuation, and then creating portfolio.
Okay, well, 2:30 now, so last hour coming up, and we have Sonia also now joining us in the studio. Sonia, hi, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, Anuj. Good afternoon, Surbi. What a day, right? I mean, I don't think anyone in the street was expecting this kind of a move, Anuj, but is it purely a relief rally because there's no taxation, no COVID cess, or do you think there's something else that the market is now smelling?
No, I think this is a combination of three things. You said about relief rally, I think that's predominant. Relief rally because of market positioning, right? And that's the, I was telling Surabhi on Friday that the market, luckily this time, is not going into the budget all guns blazing. It's corrected. So that way the market positioning was for this.
That legroom was there to move up.
Undone the nervousness that we saw for prior days. I mean, if you look at it in that context, hasn't it?
Absolutely. It's just undone that. And I think you'll have to give credit to the finance minister. Absolutely no two ways about that. I think you're seeing some of the ratings as well on the budget. It would have been very easy in a year like this to go for higher taxes, but she's refrained from doing that. And I think that's something that, look, taxes kill any bull markets. The number one enemy of bull markets is taxation. They have not done that, and I think that's another factor which is helping.
I think, I've maybe covered the budget for the last 10 years. I've never seen a reaction like this. Such a strong reaction on the upside. Anuj, have you seen this kind of a reaction
on the downside? We have seen.
On the downside,
yes,
seen a lot,
I remember, I think 2014, I mean, if my memory serves me right, 2013 or 14, one of the two budgets, I think we had similar reaction on the upside, I think.
I have a question for, our panels. Maybe I can put this to Hiren. Hiren, good afternoon. Great to be talking to you today. Yes, the banks are very, very excited. But what we've seen in this quarter is that it's going to be very different. There are large lenders that are marching on unscathed. There are mid-sized lenders and, of course, the microfinance guys, very, very different in terms of how they're getting out of the pandemic with respect to asset quality. Now we will have a bad bank of sorts also coming in. How would you look at financials from here on, beyond today, of course?
So I think the large private financials will definitely continue to do well, and I think that we've seen that across the board, CASA ratios have improved. Will definitely continue to do well, and I think that we've seen that across the board, CASA ratios have improved. For all banks.
Yeah.
I think one of the offshoots of a large fiscal deficit could be hardening of deposit rates going forward, but we'll have to wait and see how the RBI manages that. And therefore, I think that it will be more positive for the larger banks who have a great liability franchise compared to smaller mid-sized banks who may have to pay higher rates to garner deposits. That's my initial view. But I'm also very, very bullish on housing finance. I think that, we are seeing a significant improvement in residential real estate, and the fact that, the benefits for affordable housing have been extended by another year. I think that housing finance companies should also do phenomenally well. So I think the large NBFCs, the large private banks, the large PSU banks, all those who have a very good deposit franchise and housing finance. I think that's what, I would back for. Obviously, there may be, on the back of economic recovery, you could also see the likes of, Chola, etc., who are levered to growth in the commercial vehicle sector or the auto sector, which would also do going forward very, very well, given the focus on infrastructure spending that we've seen and the new scrappage policy.
Okay, since you referred to the auto sector, I just want to mention that the auto sales have been extremely positive for the month of January. We just got the TVS Motor sales a while back, and it's a 31% year-on-year growth that TVS Motor has seen in its sales. 3.07 lakh units, and exports have gone up 43%. So that's TVS for you, up 4% as we speak. And Ashok Leyland is the other one that's doing extremely well post its numbers, up almost about 8% right now on the back of double-digit growth. I want to actually throw that question to Nilesh Shah of Envision. Nilesh, this is one space that has done exceptionally well, and now the numbers have come through fine. Do you see more incremental gains here, especially for some of these two-wheeler makers that could be, sort of a play on the recovery in consumption, the recovery in infrastructure?
Okay.
Nilesh, we can't hear you very well.
Nilesh, you have to unmute. Sorry. Okay, I think we lost Nilesh Shah's audio there. So let me go across to the other Nilesh from Kotak. Nilesh, I know you won't talk stocks, but just pull out ITC. It's up 7%. I think I've seen the fine print. As of now, I can't find if there's been any hike on cigarettes. Do you think that's a good move, or do you think it's too early to celebrate because it could be taken up at GST level?
So one, on the tobacco side, there has been a fair amount of taxation rise, which has actually resulted into encouragement of smuggled cigarettes and illicitly manufactured cigarettes, which don't pay excise duty. So keeping it at a reasonable level, which does not kill the golden goose, is appropriate. And we have seen substantial rise in taxation on cigarettes over a period of time. So this year, letting it go will be fine. More importantly, Anuj, cigarettes probably contribute 10% of tobacco consumption. 90% is in BDs and gutkhas and other things. We need to eventually look at bringing even that tobacco consumption under tax net.
Okay, fair point. Madhu Kela is also joining us. So we've got a full house really for you, and it needs a full house for the kind of market that we have right now. Madhu, good afternoon. What have you made of the budget? The market is excited. Bank Nifty is up 7%, Madhu, almost at a new all-time high.
I can only say, Madhu, what a budget, and that is also coming in a pandemic year. It just and also, Madhu, let's also understand that market went into this event in a very nervous manner. I didn't get a chance to speak to you in the morning today, but this is what I was telling the other people I spoke to in the morning, the market is nervous. And even no negative will be a big positive. But it's not only no negative, but there are so many number of positives which are being done. And this pandemic year actually is being used to even clean up the past so many issues of the government balance sheet. I would give 10 on 10, Anuj. Very, very happy with the budget.
So we got our first 10 on 10 rating on the budget.
Okay, I have a question for Nilesh from Envision. I don't know if that line is back. Okay, let me try. Not yet. Okay. We don't have that line back. We'll go to him in a bit. So let me ask Nilesh of Kotak this particular question. Nilesh, what would perhaps your approach be or your advice be towards PSUs? Because we've seen that target come in, 1.75 lakh crores on divestment. The promise that whatever hasn't gotten done this year, BPCL, Concor, Shipping Corporation, it'll all get done in FY22. Your thoughts?
So my feeling is that if you are actually going to achieve divestment of all the companies mentioned, then 1.75 lakh crore is a lower number. Between 10% divestment of LIC plus strategic divestment of BPCL and Concor and BEML and other companies, we should be looking at a far higher number than 1.75 lakh crore.
Okay, Madhu, hi, good afternoon. So 10 on 10 on the budget. I mean, you can see it in the market, right? Sensex now up almost, 2,100 points. I haven't seen this kind of a move post-budget in a really, really long time. But I want to talk a little bit about the banks, because there were a lot of announcements that came through, whether it was the Bad Loans Bank, the DFI, privatization of 2 public sector banks, privatization of the insurance company. What does all of this mean for the sector as a whole? Most people are over-owned in this private sector banking space, but now, do you think the time has come to also increase allocation to public sector banks?
Yeah, Sonia, it looks like, see now it's all about the execution, and we are, at least I am pretty confident that whatever they have spoken will get executed. But you look at it, even if the 2 public sector banks which are being spoken about, if they get privatized, what will be the perception and what is the communication in terms of the intent of the government? See, markets will always be very, very forward-looking. So if they can do it, I think this will be a very, very big event, and it will mean very positive for the entire sector. And also, obviously the guidelines are not yet come in, but who could participate? Let's say some of the larger NBFCs who are essentially not being able to convert themselves into the bank. When you say that you will privatize the public sector banks, what is there to stop some of these larger NBFC to convert themselves into the bank? So these are very, very far-reaching changes which are basically required, which was very much required from the economy perspective, and this budget has delivered this.
You know what, Sonia, the market will keep surprising you, and you know what, on Friday, would you have thought that we'll hit all-time high on the Bank Nifty? Let's just flash it. It's a new all-time high on the Bank Nifty. And the Bank Nifty hitting an new all-time high. The prevailing all-time high was 32,842. We right now have a high of 32,880. In fact, we're about to cross 32,900 perhaps on the Bank Nifty. This is a new all-time high on the Bank Nifty. And of course, while we are celebrating the budget, that's clearly been a big factor. The numbers that came through from the private banks, from the large private banks over the last few days clearly have played a part. And there it is, the Bank Nifty at record high. Nilesh Shah, Bank Nifty at new all-time high. What have you made of that? Almost 8% rally on the Bank Nifty. I mean, the numbers also look quite good.
So one, it is reaction to growth-oriented budget and hoping that this will reduce the non-performing loan burden. Second, this is also reaction to the plan on the asset reconstruction company and asset management company, which is likely to become operational next year. The third is probably also function of a development financial institution starting with 20,000 crore capital. If that organization comes into play and scales up to 5 lakh crore over 3 years as envisaged in the budget, To a great extent, it helps deleveraging banking sector on the infrastructure side. And some of the projects which are stuck today could get completed, alleviating the NPA burden of the banking sector. So put all these things together, banking sector is benefiting from multiple levels.
You know what? There were so many shorts in the market on Friday. I was just looking at the data, Sonia and Surabhi, and especially on the Bank Nifty. The kind of call writing which was there on the Bank Nifty, the kind of put buying that we had seen, and the kind of shorting that we had seen. You know, we've spoken about short squeeze. Short squeeze, of course, has become a very important term over the last 1 week or so. This is short squeeze like nothing we've seen before on the Bank Nifty. I mean, for the biggest index to be up 8%, just phenomenal.
Absolutely. I think, we are getting a lot of responses on what the Bank Nifty, what this will do for the Bank Nifty, right? Privatization of 2 PSU banks could be a consortium led by both Bank of Baroda and Punjab National Bank. That is, of course, the big positive.
Sonia, just 1 second. I think Surabhi wants to make an important point.
I'm making a clarification. There has been some circulation that there is a change in surcharge. There isn't. That's the first bit I'm coming in. Sonia, in fact, if you could read out that paragraph, because I have the old surcharge table with me, I think it remains the same. So I'm just repeating the prevailing surcharges on high income earners. The prevailing surcharge for anyone earning between 50 lakh to 1 crore is 10%. And I think that has been retained. If we just go back and look at the communication that's come in.
Yes, it is not exceeding 1 crore. Between 50 lakhs to 1 crore is rate of 10%. So that stays.
That stays. Let's move to the next slab. 1 to 2 crores, the prevailing surcharge rate is 15%.
That stays at 15. Yeah, it stays at
2 to 5 crores is at 25%. I think that's not changed either.
Yes.
And the highest above 5 crores is 37.
Yeah.
37%. You add the education cess, health and education cess, the peak rate comes to 42. No change in surcharge rates. The party for the market men can go on.
It can. I think
that's an important clarification.
Yes, I mean, if there was to be a googly by now, the market would have found it out. It would not have stayed like this for so long. The market is set for the biggest budget day rally. This is going to be the biggest budget day rally that we have seen. The finance minister promised, once, a budget like no other, and I think the market is giving her a salute on that. It's a rally like no other on the budget day. So now budget is done and dusted. By the way, the global risk on is back as well, Madhu. So you think we can restart the big rally that we were having, which got punctured last week?
Any doubt that we have not already restarted? I think this kind of a rally.
But we are still about 400, 500 points to travel, right? And perhaps even more. Who knows, Madhu?
Yeah, but it took us 7 days to go down. It has taken 6 hours to cover back 70% of the losses. So this is it looked like a typical bull market correction, which was very swift and sharp. And you had an event on your way, and the event is out and the markets have corrected. So there is absolutely no doubt, Anuj, that we are in a clear bull market, and hopefully it should continue in the medium to long term. There is one thing which I would like to highlight, which is not being spoken about. We have to still just see the reaction of the international community in the bond markets, and because of this fiscal deficit expansion which we have had, 9.5% going up to 4.5% in 5 years. I would just like to see how the world reacts to this. I'm not worried about it because this is not an India-specific issue, but still there is one reaction which we need to have from rating agencies and international investors on this.
Okay, well...